Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to another episode of the Day After Show, the show where we talk about everything from the match we just played, win, lose, or draw, and we are starting to build some positive momentum, which is great. Another win, a win away from home, a win in Wales. And it has put us in a great position to hopefully set up a semi-final and then a final match in the Carabao Cup. And it's also given us a little bit of, I don't want to say context because we don't really understand the full context behind Maresca's situation, but it has given people an idea of how the fans feel about Enzo Maresca and this Chelsea team, because there's a lot of love after Cardiff. As always, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't as well. Kev was due to join us, but he texted me saying that his work was pushed back by an hour, so maybe he'll join us. I'm not entirely sure. If not, it's just going to be us four, but that's all good. Obviously, good to see Father on the pod again. Good to see Warren. How are you boys?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. I'm excited for Saturday and the draw as well.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
see you
so
in,
kind of.
Cardiff, Father.
I was to be fair. I was driving, to be fair. I got a lift actually with Jay to Cardiff.
Did you get a lift to Guildford?
No, because it wasn't Jay that I was driving. It was one of his mate that drives the car. So it was a bit strict where in terms of the pick up and drop off as well. So
where did you go?
So I think we went to somewhere in Heathrow because it's close to M4, and then we got dropped off in Heathrow as well. So
you had to get a taxi from Heathrow?
Yeah, pretty much.
How much was that?
It's like 50 quid.
That's a terrible trip, Father. You might as well just. What is that?
Well, to be fair, it wasn't Jay. Jay's just rule in it that like it was because his car's broken, so he had to get his mate to drive me up there.
50 quid. That is not worth getting a lift for that.
I would absolutely disagree with Alex there and toast you for your commitment to Chelsea Football Club as an away day travelling supporter. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Hey Warren, don't do me like that.
For me.
Wow. Don't do me like that.
Could have been worse though. Could have been maybe Newcastle.
Could have been worse. You could have gone to Wales. I mean, oh shit.
I mean European. I mean to be fair, yesterday it was a European away, so.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
You watched the game, Warren?
I did. I kind of I was playing darts at the same time, so I have a darts tournament on Sunday. I don't know how I'm going to deal with that after going to Newcastle on Saturday. So I have a darts tournament on Sunday, so I'm trying to get a fair amount of practice in. So I can't confess to being completely engrossed in every single second of the game, I must say. For my sins, calling myself a Chelsea fan, but I did watch the game. I have re-watched the extended highlights today in advance of coming onto the show, so that I can kind of offer my opinion on the game, sort of thing. But yeah, really, really positive result. Like you say, starting to build a little bit of momentum after a tricky period, and I think that we should, I think that realistic fans kind of expected tricky periods during the season, and I think that with Maresca's comments it made it an even trickier potentially period. But I think that we've come out with there's light at the end of that side of the tricky situation, and like you touched upon, Alex, there, the love shown from Maresca after the game was something that I really appreciated as a Chelsea fan who was at home as an armchair fan last night, so to speak. That's something I really appreciate, because I think we really need to get behind him. I think that I've been critical of certain things that Maresca's done on this show that I've expressed, and I don't think that I've really truly given him the credit that I think he deserves. I've tried to, but I think maybe I haven't quite as much. So I'm really, really pleased and thankful for the Chelsea fans last night for really showing him that support. And I think I think that's huge for the players moving forward, right? With a really, really bloody tough, like Newcastle and Villa next two games. Let's not look beyond Newcastle, but the next two games, Newcastle and Villa, is tough. So really positive night, and in the semi-finals of a cup, let's get Newcastle away. Local game for me.
Hey, well said, Warren. Good to finally have you on the show as well, Marshall. Do you go by Marshall on stream or?
Yeah, Marshall. Some people say casually just because my channel name, but yeah, Marshall, Marsh, whatever you want. And we're all Chelsea fans here, so.
Hey, I love it. I think
Mhm.
it's great what you do. I tell you, when one of the things that I learned when I went to America for the Club World Cup is it kind of opened my eyes as to how many big Chelsea fans are actually in America. Because there is a thing here, Warren and Father will. I mean, you said it kind of earlier on stream when we were talking about accents. People do have this perception that if you're American, then you don't really know what you're talking about, and they don't necessarily take you as seriously. But when I was out there, I was really impressed with what a lot of the fans were doing out there. What time was it for you then? The game was it like sort of mid afternoon? Because you're about 5 hours behind.
Yeah, so we're 5 hours behind. So the game for me was around 3 p.m. Usually, people are working and such, so you gotta figure out a way to watch the game in the background. Maybe pull up a tab or two, look like you're doing something, and then when you get emotional, say your file got deleted or something. But it's tough to make it happen. But if you're a fan, you make it happen. You through thick and thin, I want to watch Chelsea. So even if it means I have to drive while I do it, I'll do it.
Damn. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're actually watching a lot of the games at work.
Yeah, I try to fix my schedule because luckily for me, I'm blessed to have a job that's a little bit more flexible than others. So luckily for me, I can kind of arrange in some games to, be home and watch it in time. But sometimes I'm not so lucky. So I have to rely on mobile or do it while I'm on my way home to at least catch That's what happened with Cardiff, actually. I got stuck at work and the first half I had to watch on the mobile. Obviously, I don't condone this, people. If you're driving, focus on the road. But by all means, I had to semi watch it, and then the second half I was home. I was able to pay a lot closer attention. And to be fair,
I'll tell you something. It totally wasn't worth it for that first half.
Exactly. To be fair, I didn't miss much. So you know what? I was right to focus on the road a little more. But the second half was definitely more scintillating for sure.
Second half was where all the action was, to be fair. I was saying it in the stadium as well because I got into Cardiff and Cardiff train station is about like a 20-25 minute walk from the stadium.
Sorry, did you go to the one that's opposite the Millennium Stadium?
I'll be honest, I haven't got a clue.
Yeah,
I just know it's Cardiff Central.
Yeah,
that's literally right there.
It's right the opposite, like literally. The station's right here, and then
so essentially you missed a 76,000 stadium about 100 yards from where you was. Probably less, probably 85 yards. So well done on the observation skills.
Yeah. the first thing I saw when I came out was they had a BBC building, BBC Wales. Yeah. That was what stood out to me. Fucking hell! If I missed it, how the hell did I miss that? Well, there you go. I must have just been engrossed in my map. But I walked down to the stadium, and then my dad was driving up, so I had to meet him, and we were sort of running a little bit late. We managed to get in. He was, "Oh, can I get a drink?" And I said, "No, we're going to miss the game." Honestly, I don't know why. We should have stayed in that concourse. We should have stayed down there. But you know what? It's hardly surprising the way we play in context when you look at the amount of changes that we made and you look at everything that we did. I mean, I'll speed through the lineup. Jorgensen in goal, Achimpong, Hato, Caicedo was nice, to be fair. I'll take that. Tosin, everybody felt a little bit nervous about him. Badia Shield, George, Santos, Guiu, Buonanotte, Gittins. So, I mean, that's a lineup that basically everyone in my group chat was going, like, we're not taking this game seriously. And I was going, at the time when I first saw it, I thought, you know
serious.
What? I understand it. You've got to rotate. And also, we're playing against a League One side, so we should be fine. But there is a thing in the back of your head. It's Tosin. Oh, God, not Tosin. I mean, that was the main one, to be fair. But I mean, Marshall, what's your take before the game? Like, how did you feel going into it?
I mean, it was definitely a game where I saw that lineup and I couldn't have agreed more. Surely against the Cardiff side, you would think the youngsters, the up and coming players, the ones that we're trying to develop, will get a chance and will probably, be able to fare well. The Cardiff is a League One side. you would think the quality for this Chelsea team is enough to where we can probably comfortably win this game. And so I didn't have issues with the lineup, really. I mean, I'm very much like you, Alex. I saw Tosin on that lineup and I got a little nervous, but I'm like, surely Tosin, for one, you got to play him, right? He's in the team. You're not going to oust him like you did the Sassi, which for whatever reason, all right, fine. That's the manager's decision or the board's decision. We'll probably discuss that later on. But okay, fine. He has to play. Then fine. This is one of those games where you could probably get away with playing him. And I mean, the game was kind of a contrast to that. And I think it was, you guys remember last season when we played Newcastle in this very same competition. And it was one of those moments where we kind of had an eye-opener as to the level of this B team. Mm-hmm. I think this game, especially that first half, was the same exact feeling. I was like, oh, wow, maybe these players aren't anywhere near where they need to be. And, I mean, if you want me to get into specifics,
go for it,
I think Gittins needs to perform better. I'm not putting too much onus on Guiu. I think he was the only one that got a shot for us in that first half. The only shot on target was that Guiu chance that Caicedo put on a plate for him. Obviously, inexperience doesn't take that first shot, takes a touch, and then you close out your angle. So it was a little tougher, but at least he got a shot. And he wasn't getting much service, so I'm not putting much onus on Guiu. That first half, Buonanotte, oh my days, just giving the ball away. I think I read a stat yesterday when we reacted. I think he gave the ball away 12 times in that game. And that's not something you want from your attacking midfielder, your 10. You want to be able to control the possession. I think Caicedo and Andy Santos were fine. They did a job, but once you get the ball forward with the youngsters that we had there, we were just inefficient. They looked like they just either weren't up for it, maybe took the opposition a little too lightly, which has happened to us in previous matches this season with a young team. And so it was frustrating. It was frustrating to see. And what was disappointing for me as well was Achenbach's performance. I think going forward, Josh was brilliant. You could see like, oh, there's a good quality player here. But defensively, he was struggling a bit. And it was surprising to see because this is the same player I saw earlier in the season do a number on Isak, do a number on Mateta. And so for the level to drop to where I'm a little worried what's going on in that, right back position, it was just surprising, really. Obviously, second half comes on and you get the players that came on to make a difference and make an impact, but it just showed the levels. And it did get me a little worried as to what's going on with the recruitment of this team.
Warren, what did you think when you saw the starting 11?
Well, I mean, I wasn't surprised at all. Caicedo was probably the one that surprised me, I guess. And like you said, it was a welcome surprise because obviously having Caicedo in your side, you are a better team. I take everything that Marshall said there, to be fair. I mean, I think that it was a pretty accurate analysis of how I think most people felt about the game, in the first half. Like you said, not putting too much pressure on Guiu to kind of do it all himself, as you would maybe expect the centre forward to maybe be able to be a bit more involved in the game. Like you said, he didn't get the service, absolutely correct. I think he was unlucky with his chance. I think he tried to do the right thing in the end. He tried to go across the goalkeeper, and he made it difficult. He hit it low and powerful. I really like Guiu, so I'm somebody that's probably going to give him a bit more time and a bit more credit for it. I think that the first half was to be expected. I think that when you've got 11 players and 8 of them probably haven't started too many games of them with the other 8 too many times this season, I think you can expect there to be some fluidity issues. And I think generally we dealt with it quite well. We also dealt with any potential threat that Cardiff had reasonably well. I know that Jorgensen made quite a good save, and they had another chance where the guy fired it quite a long way wide. But I think generally we dealt with the threat quite well. I think it was quite a mature performance because, like Marshall touched upon there, with Buonanotte giving the ball away 112 times in the first 7 minutes of the game, which was extremely frustrating to see. I think that we handled that quite well, and we handled the difficult moments better than I expected a very inexperienced team to do. With a Champong at the back, and I am a huge champion for a Champong. He is going to be a top. I think we all know the potential that he's got. I genuinely believe he's going to fulfill that potential. potential. I think he is potentially, and I don't say world class likely. It's an incredibly overused word, but I think he has the potential to be pushing towards world class in the future. But to do that, he needs to feature in more games. And I know that I'm somebody that said that Maresca's maybe overmanaged games, overmanaged players sometimes and changed it around too much. But I think Achampong's one of the people that should be the first people to come into the team when we do make changes, ahead of people like Tosin and Badiashile, because I think Achampong's got much more of a future at the club than those two particular players. So I'd like to see Achampong in there a little bit more. Other than that, yeah, positive performance. I think we handled it well. I think the first half performance was a lot to do with something I heard on Sky Sports News today about Eddie Howe, that a Newcastle fan said he decided to play negatively in the first half to take the sting out of the game, to take the sting out of the home fans, to take the sting out of the occasion and kind of override Sunderland with like experience. Now they couldn't manage that because Sunderland were better than them, but we're better than Cardiff. So I think that tactically the first half was always meant to be boring. So win, semi-finals, has the draw been made? No.
Hey, it's almost there, Father. You said it's in about 5 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Isn't there a game tomorrow? Isn't Arsenal playing tomorrow?
Next week.
No.
They had to
Next
change
week.
it.
Because they got
Crystal
Conference
Palace
this week.
schedule commitments.
All right, got it.
Yeah.
I mean, Father, I don't know if you thought the same thing I thought, but I went into halftime honestly going, fair enough, 0-0. And people would complain. I was like, hey, you'd be complaining if we were down. I mean, we're still in this game. And then obviously the subs came on and things changed. But
would some people not have been complaining if we was only winning 1-0? It's one of them ones, isn't it?
It is.
It was lose, wasn't it?
I think generally the away is pretty good as long as you're winning. I mean, there was a massive switch, wasn't there, Father? As soon as we started winning.
Yeah,
but I mean, just going back to the beginning of the game, obviously you drove up then. What was like the feeling that you got amongst the fans, and how did you feel as well when you saw the team sheet? And then we can obviously go into the first half. I don't feel like there's an awful lot to talk about with the first half. There's not really. I mean, it's worth touching on, but what did you think?
If anything, I think, you know what, in terms of the lineup itself, I wasn't surprised at all in terms of the rotation wise. I wasn't fully expecting 11 changes coming into the game. Caicedo into the team after getting suspended on the weekend, which is really surprising, and you can tell that he wasn't fully up to it in some ways, that he was a bit rusty. I think if anything he wants some rest, but due to the availability that we've got on our team, I can understand why Maresca started him as well. The Buonanotte one that I was really disappointed with in terms of the productivity in that final third, that I feel is still lacking in some ways. I couldn't even blame Mark Guiu. And in the first half, it was pretty much the same. It was going to be that boring, but even when I spoke to a lot of people in the concourse, they're pretty much going with the same notion. Is that I think we're to bring on some senior players in for the second half and change the game. But all in all, I think in the first half itself, it's just it's just one of those weird days, isn't it? Like, it's going to be 0-0 draw. Nothing really stands out the most. And if anything, you got to ask the question to the Cardiff City itself, that if in their point of view, they should be more aggressive attacking us. So I think it's the lack of final third again from their team is still lacking as well. So I wasn't fully surprised that the game was end up 0-0.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think if there's anything that stood out to me. I mean, what stood out to you guys in the first half? I mean, you spoke about Achampong, Marshall. I mean, what did you think about? What about the back line as a whole? I mean, Tosin. I feel like we have to talk about him because people were so sort of, well, I guess anxious is a good word. I mean,
I think his name nearly says it all, right? Nearly.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us kind of agree he's been the weakest link of the team this season. And I don't think any of us would be surprised if come the January window, he probably maybe sees his way out.
You really believe that? You think that they'll get rid of him?
I'm not quite sure about that. Sorry to cut you in there, Marshall.
Yeah,
I I wouldn't be disappointed. And I'm not saying I don't think it would be potentially the correct decision. I don't see that happening. I don't see Maresca wanting to risk bringing somebody else in who's happy to be a squad player and trusting them. At least he knows he's going to get from Tosin. Sorry to cut you in.
No, it's fine. I mean, I think it's valid. I think the comments that are kind of tipping the scales in my head in terms of what may happen is more so not too long ago. I think it was, what was it, the Leeds game where Maresca comes out and says it was a mistake I didn't play to Acheampong.
Yeah.
And we all know why. I mean, there was no reason really in that game to have Chalobah at right back when he had played 3 games straight. He's just as knackered as Enzo in that game, right? And so you have Tosin in there who was at fault for, I believe, one of the goals, I think, or 2. I need to refresh my mind because there's been so many games taken fast. But I when the manager comes out and says something like that and kind of, in a sense, throws you under the bus and saying it was a mistake I didn't pick this younger player, I think the writing's kind of on the wall. And I mean, with how data driven this team is and with the directors and stuff, surely they'll see the stats that we saw where when Tosin's playing, we concede so many goals and we've lost so many games when Tosin is in that lineup. And so what frustrated me a lot about the Cardiff game was it seemed that at times, and Badiashile is also at fault for this too, it seemed like at times our center backs were just hoofing it into the middle of the pitch and hoping that either Caicedo or Santos or Buonanotte can get to it. And we would lose the ball so often in the middle of the pitch just because we would just lazily just kind of, here, someone throw it in the middle of the pitch. Someone will get it. Someone will run for it. Someone will try to receive this pass. And it was just, guys, like we're more organized than this. Even like to a certain extent, Tosin, even you have a better standard than this. Surely you're not this lazy. You're not, like, you're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be experienced in this team. And so it was just frustrating watching them kind of lazily pass the ball, try to dictate the game from the back there. I think it didn't help that Cardiff was probably pressing us quite a bit as well.
They were pressing well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as poor as we were, I did say to myself, like, do I need to give Cardiff a little bit more credit? Because whenever you play a team like this, I mean,
they did beat Burnley on the way here. So
terrific performance for. I know we called it League One, but I think that what puts it into a little bit more context is that a Division 3 team, like, they did genuinely play very well, and I do believe, and I do genuinely believe that Maresca set the team up to play in a certain way in the first half to negate the fact that they was going to be really up for it and they was going to work really hard. I think that Maresca always saw the second half as when we would win it. He saw the first half as maybe we could lose it here, so let's make sure we don't lose it in the first half and go 2-0 down, for example, or something like that, and let's make sure that we win it in the second half. And with Maresca calling out Tosin, saying that maybe it was a mistake that he didn't play Acheampong. Now, there's kind of 2 trains of thoughts with that, because I remember thinking about that quite a lot. I remember thinking about that quite deeply, and I remember something that, for example, Joe Cole said this recently, and I think this is true of a lot of managers, especially back in the day, more often than not. You find, but Joe Cole said that he felt like he was playing quite well, and then Mourinho called him out in public in like a press conference saying that, we're playing really well, but we expect more from certain players. And he actually named Joe Cole by name, and Joe Cole was like, so I thought about that for a little while. I sort of like procrastinated on it for a little while, and then realized, 2 or 3 weeks later, he realized that I'd been playing so much better. And he had called me out, and he had he had put the grip, like the bit between my teeth, and I had decided to prove him wrong and get out there and all the rest of it. There's that famous John Gregory, when he was the Aston Villa manager, called out David Ginola for being fat. And then Ginola scored a 35-yard volley and then took his top off and was like the sexiest, most ripped Frenchman that you've ever unbelievable. It was unbelievable. But no, it was kind of like that. So maybe that's what Maresca's doing. Maybe
trying to spark a fire, kind of.
Yeah, just try. Yeah, exactly that. And maybe maybe he's kind of got it wrong. Maybe that isn't the way to approach players this day and age. It's the way that I like to see it. And but yeah, it's just interesting the two different angles that could be perceived. Some people would be saying that he's calling Tosin out and saying to the club that I need another centre back. I asked for another centre back. You told me to use Champong. I didn't, and it went wrong. I want another centre back kind of thing. Or maybe he actually really likes Tosin and he sees a good player in there. And I think there is a good player in Tosin.
Definitely. There is.
He's trying to bring the best out of him.
We saw.
I mean, you're not wrong, because last season and in the beginning of the season, I know we all made our predictions as to what we expected from Chelsea, especially coming off of that Club World Cup. We won the Conference League. We made top 4. The last run of the season, we ended up turning it around and really proving a lot of the haters and deniers wrong, the pundits,
also Chelsea fans.
And even some Chelsea fans. And I thought that, losing Levi wasn't going to be a huge miss. Obviously, Levi's an amazing talent and obviously our best center back when available. But I thought maybe we would have just enough to still keep consistent, defensive performances. Maybe we won't have the passing out the back like we normally would. Maybe that hinders us a bit. But surely Maresca finds a way around it and so on and so forth. But this Tosin I'm seeing this season is nothing like the Tosin I was seeing last season.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's Levi. And to be fair, this is an observation I've made this season. Maybe you guys agree, maybe you disagree. I feel that when Tosin is in the lineup, I think he brings down the performances of a lot of the players around him. There's a reason why, in these recent years, whenever we've seen like Thiago Silva in that lineup, or Rudiger or Christensen, more credit to Rudiger and Thiago Silva, you see like the level of performances kind of just go up. Even Badiashile, his best season with Chelsea was that first season with Graham Potter where he was with Thiago Silva. And I think having that leadership and that good experience in the back, quality experience in the back, helps you out a lot. And it's a center back partnership for a reason. And you don't want to chop it and change it. So that's another thing with Maresca. Maybe in the beginning of the season, he's figuring out who's his best partnership when Levi's not there. But whenever Tosin was in that lineup, it seems like the quality would always dip and he would drag him down. And I remember at the beginning of the season, I was really, going crazy over Chalobah. I was really, really upset with how Chalobah's been performing. Even that United game when he does the back pass and kind of puts Sanchez in a position to make a really silly mistake and get sent off. Like there was performances like that where Chalobah's just not good enough. But Tosin comes out of the picture, and all of a sudden, Chalobah's level gets raised. Fofana comes back. All of a sudden, everyone else looks a little better. All of a sudden, in November, we almost go band for band with Arsenal's October, where we conceded we had 4 clean sheets or 3 clean sheets that month. There was a game where we conceded 1 shot.
It never got mentioned. Sorry, Marshall.
Chelsea fans know. I keep track.
I don't know how much you watch. I don't know how much you watch Sky Sports News, like UK Sky Sports News. But when Arsenal went on like a decent little run, and they kept a couple of clean sheets, they started like talking about like Chelsea of 04-05, and like obviously I was. I haven't laughed so much. I haven't laughed so much for years. It was just what I needed. But people don't mention the fact that we kind of went on that similar run. So no, good observation.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like when Tosin isn't in the lineup, like it seems our defense drastically improves. So I think that, going back to what you asked, Alex, I actually think that gives Levi Koa a lot more credit. Because if you're working with this guy next to you and you're putting up these performances and you make him look good, damn, that just shows how good you actually are as a player. And we really, really do miss you. So I completely underestimated what Levi Koa brings to this side. And we're seeing it now this season when, Tosin has to play.
Father, I mean, let's go on. On the midfield. I mean, let's look at Buonanotte. I feel like there's certain players I just need to hone in on because we never have the chance. I mean, we've obviously spoken about Tosin a lot, but we're not going to speak about Buonanotte for a few weeks, at least. So, I mean, let's analyze his performance. I mean, Marshall mentioned earlier, I can't remember if it was Marshall or Warren, that he gave the ball away 12 times.
Marshall.
Okay. So when we look at that, I mean, is that because we weren't giving him good passes to begin with? It was difficult. He was it was loose, or is it just a case of he's trying to create nothing's working? Like, where do you see Buonanotte? Because me personally, I don't have a problem giving the ball away at times if you're making things happen, especially in that position. But if you're not, then you are going to struggle to get any confidence.
I think it's just the case that he hasn't started much, as everyone thinks. I probably think that the last time I saw him actually starting was against Lincoln, and that was roughly 3 months ago. Yeah. So you can tell by the look of his performance and his attributes in that final third, like you can tell that he looks very rusty. There's lack of game time with him. I think it's also the fact that maybe you've got other players that play ahead of him. It's just got putting on him a lot of pressure, even though he's still on loan, and he wants to be proven that he can be that replacement player for Cole Palmer in that number 10 role. And yesterday, when I watching him multiple times, and it's just that again lacking that composure in that area that is supposed to be threatening, and it also goes to show that maybe I think it's just that we're not going to expect much from a someone that is pretty much a squad rotation player. So it's hard to tell, really. Like I love the guy, but it's just there's so many better players around him at the moment that he just can't seem to hack it.
One of the things that has just popped into my head, the more I think of it, I'm like, I would say apart from Tosin, like for me, Buonanotte is like the Tosin of the attack. He slows everything down. I get the sense that he's sloppy. I mean, I know he's not as old, not as experienced. That's not the comparison I'm looking for. In terms of the way,
are we getting the sentiment that he reminds me of KDH in some way?
No, I fucking wish he did.
I was going to say, I wish.
Hey man, but I don't know what it is. He just looks like
Keenan Drewsbury
like
Hall.
Such a B-Tech player, and I really try and say that there's not a nice way to say it, okay? But for me, like I had faith in Tosin last season. I still think, by the way, Tosin's good for these types of games. I'm not an advocate for actively trying to sell Tosin. Having said that, we've had a lot of debates in the past about, well, listen, we need to bring in a better centre-back. We got Sarr coming in. We got Anselmino coming in. Obviously, Disasi's gone. You got to sell someone. And then, well, the argument is, do you want to get rid of Tosin, or do you want to get rid of a player like Chalobah or Fofana? Fofana, at his best, you can't sell him. I mean, he costs too much. You wouldn't make a profit anyway. Chalobah, for me, is indispensable. I think he is exactly the type of player you want. As he's like the best version of a squad player and not necessarily the most reliable starting player each week, but he's not really top, and I don't look at him the same way as Tosin either. He's sort of that middle ground, but I'm a huge fan of Chalobah. So the next thing is Tosin, and the owners will love it. It's pure profit. They brought him in for free. They didn't pay a penny.
That's why Chalobah's safe. If we would have paid £35 million for Tosin, I mean, we tried to sell Chalobah anyway, but I think that Chalobah's probably like safe from the cut now, because if we'd spent £35 million on Tosin and we wasn't going to recoup that money, that we would sell Chalobah instead, because it was pure profit. So I think that Chalobah's kind of benefited from that.
Well, we just couldn't get 25 million, which I think is criminal. I would have paid 40 mil for that guy. I think
Chalobah's a brilliant player.
I will never understand. There's certain players that just never get the fees that are come up, and they almost turn out to be the most valuable players. Like I look at Aspilicueta. How much did we pay for him? Less than 10 million. It was like nothing. And to think of what he did for our club. Imagine if you get a few players like that, you're sorted. And I think Chalobah is a good example.
And also probably the most incredible song that ever existed, because what was hilarious about calling him Dave was the fact that we couldn't pronounce Aspilicueta. So what we done was learn how to pronounce Aspilicueta so that we could call him Dave.
Pretty much. Hey,
and I think that is absolute class. Like, we literally couldn't pronounce his name, so we learnt it so we could call him something different.
Hey man. Father, you've just put a message. The draw has started for
Oh, nice.
Carabao Cup.
Excuse
as
me,
well.
ladies and gentlemen. I am more than I will relay to you what's happening. So number 1 is Chelsea at home, first leg,
Woo!
Nice.
and they have been drawn against. And it's Shay Given drawing it. Come on, draw your own team out so that I've got a second leg in it. It's number 4. It's Arsenal or Crystal Palace.
Oh, thank
Oh,
God.
In a
Ooh.
London derby
Thank
in the League
God.
Cup semi-finals against Arsenal or Palace.
Ooh.
Up the Chelsea, which obviously we know leaves Man City and
Any London teams, fantastic. We don't have to travel again.
yeah, leave it out. I live in Newcastle, don't I? Like, do you know what I mean?
that's the
Hey,
hardest
Crystal
place.
Palace, maybe you have a favor for
Newcastle.
me.
By the
So
way,
obviously
Crystal Palace,
Newcastle,
maybe you could do something for me.
Newcastle, Man
If we do-
City, Newcastle are drawn at home first leg. Apologies.
if we do meet Arsenal in the semis, that will be the first time. That will be the repeat of 2018 Carabao Cup semis.
Wow.
On my birthday. I remember that. That was my birthday. My dad took me to the Emirates. I think we might have even sat hospitality. And I watched Arsenal absolutely cook us, mate. Ozil.
Oh, yeah,
Ozil, mate, he was all over us.
he could turn it on, that boy. Couldn't
How are
he?
we feeling about that draw then? Are we well, I mean, I
Oh
can't say
yeah,
that.
well, I mean,
I think
to
I
be
would have rather had
to be fair,
Newcastle, to be honest.
well, I mean, it's I suppose potentially with Crystal Palace in there, and I am by no means about to do Crystal Palace any kind of disservice. But I think that when you look at Man City home and away, and you look at Newcastle home and away, and you look at Arsenal home and away, the obvious choice is Crystal Palace. Not that it's going to be easy going away to Crystal Palace, and they're a terrific side and they're a good cup side and they're confident. But I think that out of those games, you know, for the players as well, not having to travel up to Newcastle like midweek randomly and stuff. So I'm pretty positive about the draw. But to be fair, it's one of them ones that I've always said it ever since I was young. I remember when I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and in fact, I would have been 9 years old. We drew West Brom in the FA Cup in 1997, in the FA Cup third round. And I was really pleased that we had drawn West Brom because I thought we were going to win. And my dad said, no. See, FA Cup and cup games, they're about playing the best teams because that's what really matters. You know, if you're playing against the best team and you win, it means more than it could ever mean beating anybody else. So I always want to play the best team. So I suppose at the moment,
I don't disagree.
I think as a smaller club, you'd want to play the best team, but not as a big club. You just want to win the whole thing.
I suppose we was a smaller club back then. I'm talking about 1997.
We weren't that small though.
We weren't that
We're
small,
still a
yeah.
pretty
Smaller
good
club.
outfit.
We was 11th when we played Liverpool in the fourth round, and Liverpool were top.
No. Okay, well, but hang on. Was that that was the year before we beat Madrid?
We beat Madrid in the 98 Super Cup.
Okay. My history's okay then. My history's okay.
Monaco, Gus Poyet, Zola with a little step over for the assist. Now you're talking about my era, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I mean, speaking of errors, I mean, Father, we've stood outside Wembley so many times in recent years, and we've been fuming. We've been heartbroken. Do you think we can get to Wembley and beat Palace or Arsenal?
I was hoping that this year would be the year that we probably breaking that curse of lifting that Carabao Cup. I mean, it's been 11th year now. We haven't won the Carabao Cup. So I was there in 2019 when we lost to Man City on penalties, when I saw Kepa had an argument with Sarri on the touchline. I was there when we
about that game.
I was there when we lost to Liverpool 3 years ago at Wembley, when we lost to them 11-10 penalties as well. And I mean, I've had so many Wembley's worst memories, let's just say, since 2018.
If I'm not wrong, the game where we lost on penalties against Liverpool, I'm pretty sure that was my first time ever doing Chelsea Fan TV before I took it over. And I'm sure I interviewed Johnny Minerals actually after that game. I'm sure I did. I'm sure because Leone didn't rock up, and so I did an interview with Johnny. I got along with him at that point. Now people send me videos every, I don't know, couple of months. fucking Alex from Chelsea Fan TV, you sellout. All right, mate. Proceeds to read out about 50 super chats. Anyway, just on that game, I do have a story actually about that final against Man City. So when we lost that game, I was standing right next to the stairs where the players walk up, and I was in tears. I've only ever cried at 2 games. I cried when we lost against City in the Carabao Cup, and I cried when we beat United 4-3 under Poch. Those are the only 2 games I've ever cried at. And when the players and Sarri were walking up, obviously I was upset. Sarri just stopped, and he looked at me, and he put his hand out, and he shook my hand. And it was like such a real moment. Obviously, we just lost as well. Like, we were heartbroken, and like that has lived with me forever. And I was like, what a guy. I wish someone was filming or something, like, because people don't believe me when I say that story. But yeah, it was crazy, man. It was absolutely crazy. And my dad actually bumped into him on an elevator not long after. I think it was in Malmo. Well, I can't remember. And he was like, you know, he wanted to have a chat with him. He didn't really, but he was like, my son respects you a lot. Rich was like, thank you. I like Sarri. I was always a fan of Sarri.
Can I just say, touching upon Sarri there, and I'm going to sort of like digress away from like
go on,
what we
mate.
were talking about there, is when Sarri was in charge, and I'm somebody that, like I say, I always try and support the manager because I'm a Chelsea fan, so I don't really care who's there. That's who I've got. I'm going to support you. But I did find, you know, and we're talking about like Tosin and Buonanotte being very slow on the ball and things like that. So he brought in Jorginho, and he brought in this sort of like style of football that many fans at Stamford Bridge, and many fans traveling to away games, and many armchair fans at home were very critical of. And they was like, you know, Sarri ball. And it was like, it's boring, it's slow, it doesn't work, we don't care if we win or not, it's kind of like shit, and we're bored of like watching it. Does it not kind of show that, in terms of now that we've got Maresca, that Sarri was 6 years ahead of Chelsea?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the football that he's playing now, I mean, we saw in semblances like, you know, Pep has been playing this possession style based football and all this tactical stuff. I mean, people were making the comparisons last seasons, and since I'm in the States and you guys are, you know, on the ground a lot more often than I do, how do you guys feel that the feeling? Because I know last season people felt it was very reminiscent of the Sarri season, where people didn't like the football that was being played on the pitch. You know, some Chelsea fans obviously discontent, showing it as well with booing players and so on and so forth. Do you guys feel like that feeling is still there even this season?
I would say 20% of it, though. I would say 20% of it.
It's not that. Father, do you remember when we played United and everyone was like, fuck Sarri ball?
I remember.
Sarri ball, fuck Sarri. You don't remember that?
The thing is, with 6 years ago, I don't think it's nowhere near close to that Sarri ball in 29.
People really respect Maresca now. I think a lot more people have respect for him.
The trophies help, obviously.
That's the difference. I genuinely believe that's the only difference between the two situations. I genuinely believe that. So even though we're kind of playing a similar way, it has evolved since then. But I think that also fans' opinion of the game and how we view the game and how much we, you know, as fans, we was used to a certain side of football in the Premier League, and that's obviously changed a lot with Pep. And I think that 6 years is an awful long time. And when Man City in that 6 year period won 5 Premier League titles, we're going to start paying attention to the fact that teams play this way and they're successful. So I genuinely believe it's like a culture change from the fans, where we've adapted to a certain kind of vernacular when it comes to accepting a certain way of playing football, whereas we didn't have that under Sarri. We had never had that before. We had never had that side of play before. I think that as fans, we've adapted to the idea of playing this kind of football. And I genuinely believe that. I'm not saying that I think Sarri's as good as Maresca. I'm not actually comparing the two managers. I'm comparing the two almost eras of football. And Sarri, in terms of Chelsea Football Club and playing the type of football that we do, Sarri was at the forefront of that. Sarri was the first manager to do that. And I think that he was ridiculed, and I think that he was singled out. He done exactly the same as Maresca. In fact, he done better than Maresca because he won a European final and he got to another final. Sarri did. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think that he deserves an awful lot of he deserves an awful lot of credit for that. And I think he was 6 years ahead of his time. Sorry, and I just think that he was mistreated, and I just wanted to put that out there on record.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was actually thinking about this today, especially with all the things happening with Maresca currently. And Alex and anyone who went to the Cardiff game, you guys witnessed it yourself. It seems like even though we're online and we see what's online with the Chelsea fan base, and there's always these toxic accounts, whether it be positive or negative, on the pitch, the real fans that go, it seems that most of them seem to be on board with Maresca and backing Maresca. And
well, I'll be honest with you, mate. When we weren't winning the game, it wasn't like that.
It wasn't
like that.
Pretty typical.
Once
we scored and we were up and running, everyone was happy.
That's the
well,
thing.
I mean,
It depends how the scoreline looks, isn't it? Like, let's say
that's true.
Down. Let's say if it's a 1-0 down, then it will be more.
Yeah, that makes sense, and yeah, that's typical of most fan bases. I think they just you're going to be morally down a bit when you're not winning, but I think overall, I think the fan base understand that the issues that we're seeing on the pitch, some of it is on Maresca, but I think the fans understand that he also didn't really get that great of a summer window, and that the directors are more to hold blame for what's happening on the pitch because of the quality, not necessarily the tactics.
That's who he meant with the worst 48 hours, right? It was definitely the bald, right?
I think so.
Well, I mean,
so.
Speaking of that, when we with the whole sporting directors, I saw him with Joe Shields on the Sunday when I went to Cobham, and they looked very smiley. They didn't look, there was no handshake, but they were smiling. It looked very civil, and it makes me think, okay, because Joe Shields is a level above Winstanley and Stewart, if I'm not wrong, in the hierarchy. So I'm thinking, okay, so it seems like you're fine. So it's got to be Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley or the ownership, but impossible to pin it down. I mean, Maresca basically gave zero context whatsoever. I think it would have been nice to have a bit of clarity.
He gave a little bit of context though, right? Because when they said, who do you mean? Like the fans, the players, or the bald? Like that was kind of the question that was implied by the journalist. He said, I believe, and don't necessarily directly quote me, but this is pretty much what he said. No, we love the fans. The fans are brilliant. So he gave a little bit of context into he was given three options, and he to me he quite clearly removed one of them options and said no, like we understand. And I'm the first person to get on Chelsea fans' backs about being negative. It's kind of what you said there about it's easier to like be up for it and really support your team when you're winning. I think that's only true when you're used to seeing your team winning, because like I remember going to Sunderland, Roker Park, before they rebuilt their new stadium in 1996 on a Sunday afternoon and losing 3-0 and getting a coin in the back of the head. Like that was supporting your team because we cheered all day. But obviously that's changed a little bit since then. No, I'm with you.
I do think that Maresca has earned. He's earned all the credit in the world. I don't know what your feeling is on Maresca, Marshall. I'm not sure, but me personally, I hated the guy, and he converted me.
Oh, I know.
He converted me, man.
You was really against him. Interesting.
Oh, well, I was the front runner of the Maresca.
And I know. I'd heard some of your interviews and heard you questioning some of his decisions. I wasn't perhaps quite as privy to how passionate you was against him.
I went on TalkSport. And this is before the protest. I was at the protest.
As you do,
encouraged the protest. I remember we beat Southampton. Was it 3 or 4-0?
Sorry, you encouraged the protest against the owners?
Yeah, against the ownership. Yeah. By the way, I still fully agree that the ownership, in terms of the way they're using us, is wrong on many levels. And I don't think private equity should ever be allowed in football. and I stand by that. But I'm not going to protest when we're having a successful period as a club. The thing that I get it to an extent. Win, lose or draw, blue go out. I've heard that many times.
I say win or lose. I say win or lose up the Blues.
Of course.
There you go.
But the people, there's a certain section of the fan base who, to be honest with you, I do respect, because I would say a lot of them were coming on the channel last season, maybe less so now because I'm a lot more positive. I've always been a positive fan. I generally have. I backed Potter until the end. I mean, when he got sacked, I was happy, but I wanted him to succeed. I was a big fan of Pochettino, and I lost my shit when he got sacked. And I was always like, oh,
I was very disappointed
bringing in this guy. And then everything that happened, the style of football, it was just dire, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it brought me to my limits where I thought, we are never ever going to be a serious club again. And then we go and tick all the other boxes, and I'm like, you know what, fair enough, honestly. Like, you've earned my respect. And I saw the stat on Sky the other day about how many points we've won compared to other clubs since Maresca's come in. It is so respectable. When you look at, people always look at the money. What did you spend the money on?
Well, he didn't spend it on it. He didn't spend it on any of them. I guess that's kind of half that point, right? Kind of half the point with Maresca is the fact that he didn't spend any of that money. He had probably like minimal input on it. I suppose that the more that he's at the club and the more that he's trusted, maybe the more input he will have. I didn't find it that dire at the start. I could kind of see now under Potter.
Not at the start, but from
no,
New Year.
I know we had a really difficult period. We did. We had an extraordinarily difficult period.
That
but
December,
for me,
February period was rough.
Yeah, it was. It was rough. It was really rough. But see now, under Tuchel and Potter, I didn't see where it was going. Under Pochettino, when things went wrong, I could see what he was trying to do, and I could see what the end result was going to be. Excuse me. And that's kind of how I feel about Maresca. Even when he gets it wrong, I can see what he's doing. Even when he when he makes 5 or 6 changes against Leeds, even though sat at home because I'm a genius, obviously, even if I think that he's kind of done it wrong, I can see what he's trying to do, and I can see the potential end result. I don't know what you think, Father, right? So you go to a lot of games.
I would say this. Sometimes, like, if you look at the example from last season, I'll give some sample sizes, like, let's say in the second half of the season. I would go back to that February period when we had that horrendous start of February when we lost 3 games on a trot that we just keep over-rotating for no reason. And then
Pedro, was that the game we lost Brighton back-to-back?
Oh,
yes,
that week?
Kameda, what a goal from not Kameda.
That's the thing, because I can see what he's trying to do at that time, but again,
that was the low of the low. That was like when we lost to Southampton under Potter, mate. Oh,
low of the low. The low of the low.
It's not going to get worse than that, people. It's not going to get worse.
It was pretty bad.
I feel like this is why I potentially have a different perspective to, like, you know, some other Chelsea fans, because the low of the low, losing to like Brighton whilst we're into the latter stages of a European competition and probably at the time in the top 6 of the Premier League, and have players like Cole Palmer and Caicedo and have spent billions of pounds on players. And I remember like losing 3-0 away to Swindon.
But the standard was different, wasn't it? And you hadn't seen the success. So that
no, very true. But I mean, no, absolutely not. And there's not a right or wrong. It's not. I'm not right, and you're not wrong. That's absolutely. I'm sorry if I've articulated that like badly. I just mean that, like, I guess my point is how fucking lucky are we that when we go out in the FA Cup having had a bad performance and over rotated, we're that disappointed. Like, that's how far we've come as a club.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying about, like, it's great that we all have a very unique perspective on that, being from different parts of the world and being from different generations and stuff. I appreciate I'm as old as all 3 of you put together. So no, it's just interesting that seemed like the end of the world to me. To me, it didn't. I was very disappointed.
I think I was kind of in the same boat where I kind of was backing the team and I was being positive that, listen, at one point in the season, we were playing one sort of way and we've dipped. And I don't see anything stopping us from going back to that same form. And eventually, like, things did turn around. We started to, shore up the defense a lot more. We started to get our attackers back, but even then we weren't scoring. But we were at least sound defensively, which is whenever there's any issues in the team, that's probably what you want to do first, right? Prevent goals and then figure out the attack afterwards, because at least you're not losing games. At least you're drawing. And I think last season, the lowest point of last season was the fact that we had lost. We were already knocked out of the Carabao Cup at that point, but this was a chance to try to win another trophy, and then we get knocked out of the FA Cup, and then not only that, the same team that knocked us out beat us again in the league. And I think at that point we dropped to either 5th or 6th, which is the lowest we ever dropped under Maresca. And that's why I always kind of still believed, because it wasn't like Pochettino where we were habitually in the 10th position up until the very last few games of the season, where we picked up form. We went on, I think it was 5-game win streak or something in the league, or 6 maybe. And we worked our way up the table to the point where we almost got Europa and then got knocked down to Conference League because of United. They will pay for that. But it was just, it just goes to show what you're saying, right? The standard, we were disappointed even though we were in 5th, but in previous seasons we had gone through hell with Potter where we finished 12th, and even with Pochettino most of that season was just rough results, and some good ones in there, and I always say this and I still hold it to be true. We were the most entertaining team in the Premier League that season. The games that we had from a neutral point of view, the losses that we had as well, it was probably so entertaining for the rival fan, and for us as Chelsea fans, like really, like Alex saying, the United game where we come back and Palmer scores a hat-trick in that game. Just such great moments, even the 4-4 with Man City. And to go back to what Alex asked me about where I stand with Maresca, I back the manager. I really, really do. I should say the coach.
Like that last season?
Yeah, no, I was. The thing is, I get where you're coming from. And I remember your view on the whole thing, and I sympathize with it because some of the fans, and I was kind of in that boat where I was willing to give it another shot with Pochettino. I wasn't happy with most of the season, but when you see the results, at the end of the day, I just want the results. I still thought that we were underperforming with that team, and I still think that just the amount of injuries we were going through, just like the lack of what looks like tactics on the pitch. Sometimes it was too rock and roll football for me, and just moments of brilliance. I thought, okay, listen, if Poch can get us into Europe, I'm willing to give it another chance. If not, I need him gone. And fans were of their perspective of like, okay, we were turning it around, give Poch a second season, back him with other players and see what we can do. And so when you get rid of that by mutual agreement or whatnot, like they try to say the PR and what they put in the news, and then you bring in a guy who doesn't have experience. Yeah, I think as a Chelsea fan who is used to a certain way Roman used to do things, yeah, you're going to be upset. You're going to be pissed. You're not going to have that many high hopes. This is a guy that came from Championship. No one knows who he was. No one knows his work of art. All we know is that he used to work with Pep. And so that fear of the unknown and how we kind of maybe had a little bit of a shaky preseason, it wasn't very convincing. Now, the rest of the season, we started off strong and then we dipped off. I understand why people were upset. And eventually he turned it around, and now and we've been this way as Chelsea fans. I think all of us as Chelsea fans always wanted this project manager like with Tuchel and so, but we always said, you have to earn your position at Chelsea. You're just not guaranteed time. You have to earn time. And so what Pochettino couldn't do was win trophies. And usually there was always a gauge of, all right, I'll give the manager time. Tuchel did it, right? He came in, won a Champions League, got us to the final of the FA Cup where we lost to Leicester, unfortunately, and then got us into top 4, turned our season around. He earned his time. Maresca doesn't have a track record. And, I was willing to be patient because let's see how the season ends. Let's see how Club World Cup goes. And let's see how, if we can turn it around, because we're not too far off fourth. The majority of last season, we were in fourth place. We were in the top four. We were hitting our goals. So I was willing to give it time, Alex, to answer your question. And now I'm happy I did because you see the games. Like, there are games where we look absolutely brilliant. Barcelona, Arsenal, Liverpool. You know, even to an extent, Bayern, we were a little unlucky, but we were off the gate. We were playing well.
We were excellent against Bayern.
Yeah,
was you at the game like Father and Alex? Was you at that game? How did you see that game? Was you both at the game? I take it.
Are you asking me?
So Alex and Favre, obviously, I know that Marshall was probably unlikely to have attended.
I was there in spirit.
Yeah, I know that I didn't. So, like, between you and Alex and Favre, I wondered if you went to the game, how you saw it, because I thought we played really well against Bayern.
No, we did. I mean, let's not dwell on it too much because we've got other things to get through. Let's just go on the changes, Father. Let's go on the substitutions that Maresca made. Halftime, 2 changes: Tyreek George off, Garnacho on, Mark Guiu off, João Pedro on, and we pretty much saw an instant impact, didn't we?
Absolutely. And I think with the substitution, especially with the Tyreek George, it was for Neto as well, and then you got Garnacho came in on the left. You can tell that there is some fluidity in the attack as well. I felt that in the first half. I don't think Tyreek George didn't do much, in my opinion, just purely because I just think that's not his best position on the right. He's more of a left winger, if anything, same as Gittins. So that's why I felt that the fans were more frustrated in some ways that Esteval didn't start. But eventually the news came out that he had a minor muscular issue. But when Garnacho came on, for me, he was by far the best out of both of the between Neto and Garnacho. By far, the attacks were way more better. Even João Pedro in a way that even though there is a bit of cameo with him, but he didn't do much. But yeah, I felt that again, Garnacho. Ever since I gave him that pat at the back, he's been balling out as of late. So
hey, man,
you're gonna take credit for that?
maybe I do, man. Maybe
Frater bless our players.
I said this after Neto scored as well. I don't know if you know, Marshall. I'm a huge Neto fan. Neto is my number one player, man. I love that guy. And last season I put I didn't feel like this about Tosin, to be fair, but I was a fan of Tosin last season. Everyone used to go, "Hey, that's your guy, Alex. That's your guy." Definitely don't feel like that this season. But Neto, for me, that is my dog, mate. He gets
overly criticized.
Mate, he is. I've had this argument with Charlie so many times. He's like basically saying, I mean, I don't even understand the argument. I think Charlie will probably backtrack on it now because I've had this argument with him so many times. I've had this argument with Scott, who you might have been on stream with as well. Don't think Garnacho's good enough. Don't think Neto's good enough. Not enough GA. Listen, GA is important, but it's not everything, okay? And when you've got a system where goals are meant to come from every single player, I've even got Malagusto contributing this season, on 3 GA so far. You can afford to take a little bit of pressure off of other players. Doesn't mean they shouldn't perform. Of course they should. But I'm not expecting 20 goals. I'm not expecting 15 goals. But I just feel like, I mean, I'm starting on Neto here, and then I'll go to Garnacho because I'm a fan of both of them. But for me, Neto has...
Neto's better.
You think Neto's better? I would agree with that.
At the moment,
Neto is a part of the team.
He's our best attacker right now. He's our leading goal scorer.
Mate, he is a part of the spine of this team, and people don't appreciate enough what Pedro Neto.
You know how important Pedro Neto is. Without Pedro Neto, when Cole Palmer and Fernandez and João Pedro and all these like creative geniuses get on the ball in the middle. That doesn't happen without Pedro Neto going over there taking defenders away. So even when he doesn't touch the ball, Pedro Neto is our most important attacking player. Sorry to cut you in, Alex, but Pedro Neto, I am so with you. He is so important, and he's a fabulous player, and he plays with his heart, and he works so hard. And I think that he's appreciated by Chelsea fans. I think he deserves to be appreciated more. I think he's brilliant. I just wanted to agree with you unequivocally on that. He is our most important attacking player.
Hey man,
I'm not
honestly,
sure the word. I think so. I slightly disagree there with the whole appreciate stuff, because I felt that when I went to game this, maybe there's a bit of, all right, maybe online fans love a bit of Neto a lot, but I feel like there is a small amount of mix of fans that wasn't very unsure of Pedro Neto in some ways. That maybe it's because the inconsistency with him with some of the games that he had.
Inconsistency. He's
Yeah.
Mr. Consistent.
He is scoring
I
our
don't
goals
know.
right now.
I think it's a bit of mixing it. I think it's a bit of mix.
Last season he was inconsistent.
Yeah.
Thingy, but like,
Do you think it's more? I think you think, like, let's say in some of the games like this season, if you like, I'll probably give you some sample size. Like, let's say mid September ish all the way up till October. Let's say I'll give that run period when we had Brighton, when we had United, when we had Brentford away, when we had Liverpool. Do you think that after Liverpool game that he's been more consistent enough?
I think after the Club World Cup, he's been. I think during the Club World Cup, he was our best player. And I'd say this season, if I was going to give player of the season, I'd give it to Pedro Neto. Player of the season.
him / Caicedo, Shadowbug.
No, Pedro Neto. Caicedo got sent off.
Gets a shout.
I think it's too early to tell.
Caicedo, but he got sent off in one of our biggest games of the season.
I think it's too early to tell, man.
No, I'm Jane. If you ask me right now, who am I giving the player of the season to?
I could say
unequivocally.
Like, it's not even an agenda. I think it's too early to say he's been the player of the season.
I think with Pedro Neto, the issue with him, and it's not really an issue, is I think it's his decision making that frustrates fans sometimes, because he does have this tendency of, when we're on a counterattack, maybe he'll cut inside and slow down the counterattack versus, trying to thread the ball inside, thread the needle pass to find João Pedro or Delap or whoever is in a goal scoring position. I think sometimes people get really frustrated with the redundant crossing, that in-swinger that he has to the far post, and the amount of times that no one's there to receive it. I think that can be frustrating, but I look on the other end, right? I look at that left wing and I see what I'm getting out of them. And a lot of times it's frustration. With Garnacho, I know he had a good game yesterday, but prior to that, I was asking for Jamie Gittins to get more starts, because Garnacho hasn't been showing me any real levels since, what game was it that he scored 2 assists, I think, or an assist? I think he had 2.
Which game are you talking about?
There was a game where Garnacho got 2 assists. I think it was
Wolves at home, man. Was it Wolves at home?
It was at home. I just can't. I think it was Wolves. Yeah, I think it was Wolves.
Was that when he played for Man United?
No, with us. So I think when you look at the performances we're getting from the left-hand side, the lack of goal, the lack of assists, the too often losing possession, not taking on your man, I think Neto has that in him, and we know he does, but he's smarter about when he does it versus the other side with Gittins, where even yesterday's game, Gittins lost the ball 10 times. After a while, brother, you need to stop trying to dribble. He's got your number. Try something else. I think Neto's a little bit smarter about that. Last season, not so much, but this season, he's picking and choosing his battles a lot wisely.
I haven't seen Gittins try and take a player on since he joined us.
Oh, of course he has.
He has,
really?
But it's not very successful.
He doesn't try it often enough for me. It's interesting what you say sometimes.
Garnacho's the one that doesn't do it enough for me.
Yeah, I think Garnacho's been an awful lot more. It's not just that he's been more productive. I think that, for me, Garnacho looks more of a threat than Gittins.
Yeah.
Like Gittins gets the ball, and I know the next player to get the ball after him is going to be Cucurella, Caicedo, or Fernandes, right? Yeah. If Garnacho gets the ball, I feel like he can get into the middle. I feel like he can beat a man. I think Gittins.
He gets into good positions. Just doesn't
he does. Yeah. And I guess that's what I mean. He looks like he can be more of a threat. Gittins, for me, I think he's been the most underwhelming performer, along with Tosin and Buonanotte. And I've got to say, in the last 2.5 months, probably João Pedro as well. I've been very disappointed with João Pedro. Still think they're all terrific players, and Gittins, you don't go and spend £50 million on a player that's been taken over to Germany like so many players have and made a name for themselves. I'm sure there's a terrific player in there. Maybe he's being coached wrong. I don't know what the issue is, but Gittins for me has been, I think he's been worse than Buonanotte and Tosin, to be fair.
I love having Neto in the team, and I think Garnacho is a great squad player. Gittins was the one player this summer that I just thought, what are we doing? You know, I don't think Garnacho was a bad signing. I don't think who else did we sign? I don't think the Lap was a bad signing. I will say this: I wasn't a fan of João Pedro either.
Me neither.
I was, and I'm going the other way. But I'm interested to see how he is once he's played 5 or 6 games in a row with Cole Palmer.
To be fair, yeah, exactly. With Cole Palmer, I think that's been helping him a lot. And to your point, Alex, I mean, I actually saw Gittins play in the Club World Cup before he came to Chelsea. It was against Fluminense in the group stages, and the player looked good. He looked direct. He looked very tidy on the ball. Like he can really, almost like how Buonanotte likes to get into the tight spaces and dribble his way out. Gittins is similar when I was watching him, but I think because he's young, I think it's that mentality where maybe he tries too much to impress. Maybe he's too worried about losing the ball. What if the coach takes me out if I make a mistake? I think he overthinks, and it really, like with Garnacho, he almost like naturally gets into like goal scoring positions. He missed a hat trick of goals. What game was the one before the one we just played? It was Everton, right? He missed like a hat trick of goals that he could have gotten against Everton. And that's always been the issue with Garnacho, right? The finishing was never really great in United, but he always got into some really juicy positions. And if he can improve that, he'd be good for us, much better than what he's doing right now. But like Gittins just too shy. But he plays in under 21s for England, and he looks perfectly
He's shy
fine.
in person as well, mate. Like when we went to Cobham, him and Santos come into a room and spoke to us, and Santos looked really chill, really like friendly, and Gittins was just standing there, you know. Yeah. I was like, bless him. All
Obsessed with a name dropping tonight, Alex, I've got to say.
Mate, I've got to milk it as much as I can. Because I don't think I'm going to be going to Cobham for a long time.
Well, I was going to say you've got enough for your cereal in the morning. No doubt.
Man, and people were like, Alex, why do you keep talking about Maresca smiling at Joe Shields as if you have some sort of insider information? Literally saw 2 blokes just smiling at each other, and you're like acting like you've got some sort of exclusive story. But I'm like, hey man, we'll see what happens. Willie Issa as well. I mean, hey, man, we've had some good ones. I think that was my best experience visiting Cobham, by the way. And I've been 4 times before that, and that was the best experience I've had.
Wait, did you get to meet Willie Issa? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Willie Issa, man, I had a chat with him for like 20 minutes.
Really? That's so cool. Honestly. Is he huge? Is he like a tank?
No, he's not as big as you think he is. No, he's not that big.
Okay, because he looks like he's built like a bodyguard.
No, I'm twice the size of him.
He's he's so down to earth, the nicest bloke. The first thing he said to us, because there was a group of us, there was like 20 people, but we were spread out. So let's just say there was a group of 6. And the first thing he said when he come over to us was, hi guys, I need your help. How can we make the club better? It's the first thing he said to us. And we literally spoke about 20 minutes about what we could do to improve the club. He asked us about how we could make the atmosphere better at Stamford Bridge. An older fan said that he would relocate older fans that are in the Matthew Harding shed to the east and west stands because they don't make any noise. And he said a lot of those people might want to do it. I personally don't know if many would, but I think it's definitely worth exploring. He also told us that the one game that really annoyed him this season was Leeds. And he said that was the one game that I just I couldn't accept. And he said he went through a lot of stuff with players individually about what they've got to do better, like that mentality issue. And then he also asked us about music after the goals, and I said I don't like it.
No.
Yeah. I actually have a question in regards to music in general. I've been noticing, because this season I've been watching a few more Premier League games, and normally I just watch Chelsea. And this season I've been watching a few more Premier League games. Why is it that, like, you go to the Emirates or you go to, I guess, Newcastle to an extent, they have drums in their crowd, but Stamford Bridge, we can't get like a nice
We
little
we don't
marching
want that
drum
shit.
thing.
We don't
want
want
that shit.
the drums. We don't want
I
the
don't
drums.
think
The drums culturally is quite European. But,
Okay.
By the way, Arsenal
Yeah.
forced the drums. That was
we-
never there before.
They never had that, right? That's like a new
No,
thing.
They forced it, mate. It's totally. It's forced.
Because I'm starting to notice it more this season, where like more clubs are doing drums. I think Crystal Palace is one of them too. I was like, when did this start happening?
Crystal
Palace
Palace
always
are
had the
original.
drum.
No, Crystal
Okay,
Palace-
okay.
They've had the drum for like a while. It's kind of like, you know, so England fans are synopsis for like for having the drummer and the guy with all the instruments and everything and blah blah. But with regards to the music after the goals, that's the one thing that I must say, with the utmost respect to our esteemed guest Marshall, is complete American fucking bullshit, and it can do one because we're in England playing an English game. With the utmost respect, Marshall, of course, that is a very American thing, and it doesn't, for me, it doesn't belong at our ground. Let's celebrate. Let's make the noise. Let's fans make the noise. We don't need music. Let's do it. And also, with regards to the older fans moving from the Matthew Harding stand and the shed, like other places, so that other younger fans can go into the Matthew Harding stand. If you're all stuck in the shed end, beg your pardon, if you're all stuck in the west and the east because you can't get into the shed and the Matthew Harding because of the older fans, why is the atmosphere not coming from the west and the east, and why would it be any different if you was behind the goal?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Sorry, excuse me. I was actually trying not to sneeze halfway through that. I tried to hold it all in. I thought I'd done well. Right. Excuse me. So no, Alex, you said about sort of like the older generation of fans that maybe not as vocal as they were when they was younger because they're older, and it's understandable. Quite a lot of them are in like the Matthew Harding and the shed.
Correct.
And like a lot of the younger fans, because of that, are restricted to like the west and the east and maybe other parts of the ground that are not like, you know, renowned for their atmosphere.
Right.
My question to that would be, if you're all stuck in the west and the east stand, why are you not making the atmosphere from there?
Because they sit down.
They sit down.
Then stand up if you're all there.
They're not allowed to.
They're not allowed.
Oh, really?
They're literally not allowed to stand up. If someone stands up, a steward will come over to you and say you need to sit down.
I suppose that this is very much easier said than done, but my answer would be there's 12,000 people in the East Stand. Every single one of you stand up and see what the fuck they're going to do. Because I can guarantee you what they're going to do about it, and that's sweet FA, my friend. No, I take that point on board. I know I'm having a bit of banter about it, but but seriously, and fair enough, that is a contributing factor. But if you're all together and you all do it, then you'll create the atmosphere where you are.
Correct. I mean, I think you only need two stands to make noise, and generally what happens is everyone else just follows if it's any good, especially in big games. You know, West
East Stand, give us a song.
I mean, the East Stand is diabolical. Partly, and
it's my favorite. It's my favorite
because it's where the kids
look at.
And the kids don't all know the chants and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the corporate guys have a few drinks before the game. So, you know, they're ready for a chant if need be. But, yeah, I mean, so we've spoken about Garnacho. We've spoken about Neto. We can all agree he's our player of the season and he's undroppable and he should never be sold. And he is
Should Sanchez be in that conversation?
What, player of the season? No, too many mistakes, mate. United...
United was really the last one.
United, he was stitched up by Chalobah. Leeds, he was stitched up by Tosin. And I am Sanchez's biggest critic.
No, he wasn't the problem at Leeds. No, I wouldn't blame Sanchez for Leeds. Yeah. But I think the beginning of the season, we had too many moments. I mean, I'm just going to backtrack here. Just see if I can remember off the top of my head.
So by far the most improved player?
He's up there.
I'll say
definitely
Neto,
one of our more improved players, 100%.
I'll say Neto is the most improved player, though.
Neto also started to turn it around, too.
I would say Sanchez is our most improved player, but I would say Neto is our best player, if that makes sense. This season, my player of the season.
Neto's doing what I expect him to do. Sanchez, who I was very harsh on, I think for the amount of pressure that he's under, do you know what it is? I don't think he gets the credit for playing as well as he has been doing. Even if his performance is, even if he's had an average performance, for him to produce an average performance under the pressure that he's under and the spotlight that he's under, and having to stand in front of the shed end and the Matthew Harding stand every other week and get the abuse that he's been getting, for him to turn that around, whether he is our most improved player or not, I think he's the player who deserves the most amount of credit, because he has taken so much stick, and I think he's really turned it around. Credit to him, really, real big credit.
Oh, mate. But I got more for you. Oh, you can like this one. I feel like I've told you this one already, Warren. So when we were at Cobham and we were getting all
here comes the
I told you this one. This one's actually mad. So Michael, who is the guy who invited me, and Charlie, he went to Sanchez. He was like, "Do you like your new chant?" And Sanchez was like, "What?" And he was like, "Your new chant. Do you like it?" And he said, "I have a chant." He didn't even know about the bloody chant.
Wow.
He was like, I was like, "Don't you dare sing it, Michael. Don't you
So what's the chant, Alex?
There's only one Robert Sanchez. One Robert Sanchez.
He used to be shit, but now he's all right.
Shy. Used to be shy. Yeah, that's it. Hey, big up to Lewis as well. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you on stream as always. World champion. What day is it, Lewis? How many days as world champion? I'm losing count. We've been
What is it? 176
for so long. I'm losing count.
Count.
Days.
I have no idea. It's such a
I need
random...
Lewis to keep me in check with that one.
Hey, I would love to film at Cobham, but you're not allowed to. I tried to get Enzo Fernandez to do a video.
No, there's kids there. Alex,
he was like, no filming. So,
No filming. It's kids there as well.
Day 156 out of 1,460.
Hey, I wasn't too far away, man. I was only 12.
Yeah, you were pretty close, Warren.
Yeah,
but I mean, Warren has a good point with Sanchez. I think I want to wait until the end of the season because I'm not out of the depths with him yet. Like, I think most of us maybe agree on this. I think there's still that inkling feeling of like one of these days you're going to do something. But that's any goalkeeper, right? Like,
I'm terrified anytime he's near the ball.
Yeah, but any goalkeeper is bound to make a mistake. I'm not as terrified, and I think a lot of it has to do with how we're setting up now, where we're not exposing. And credit to Caicedo, right? We're putting our midfield up in a way where we're not exposing our defense to so many opportunities and shots on target, whereas Sanchez's day gets relatively easy. But I think where Sanchez is shining over a lot of goalkeepers right now is the claiming of crosses and the set pieces. Against Arsenal, how dominant were we? Where we didn't let them have a single real clean set piece to really get at us at. So I think he's been brilliant in that. I think the passing has been improving as well. I used to just dread seeing him pass from the back, and whenever I would see those long balls, I'd just be like, here we go again.
I think the long balls is what's helped him.
It's been better.
I think he had the opportunity to do that under Poch, and he was right.
No, I'm sorry. I think that strategically it's much more of an option under Maresca. I'm not saying that it was never an option under Poch. I just think that it's much more of an option, and I think that's part of the reason why Delap was brought in, because Sanchez would like look for a short pass, and then he'd be like, "Oh, I really don't want to go long here," and look 2 more times for a short pass. Now he's like, short pass, no, long ball. He knows exactly what he's doing, but as soon as he makes his movement to play the long ball, I feel like the Chelsea players are reacting to that better. I think they're trained more often and perhaps better in the long ball now than we was before.
I'm glad you brought that up, Warren, because that was something like I remember back in the day, with Czech, Drogba, Lampard, like we never needed to worry about the long ball because Drogba was always there to bring it down, control it, hold up. And we didn't have that with Jackson last season. He's hit or miss with that. Horrible touch here, horrible touch there. Now we have player profiles that maybe help Sanchez get more out of those passes.
I agree. I think it's definitely an option. I think it takes pressure off.
I just saw as well. I don't know if you guys know, we are going to play the first leg in the cup at home, and the second leg will be
I
away.
know. I said that live earlier.
Do we know when that is? Is it going to be in January?
The 12th of January.
12th.
First
Yeah,
game.
12th. Yeah.
When's the second game?
3 weeks later, I think. I think it's 3 weeks.
After West Ham at home.
So,
Yeah,
January. We're going to play on a Monday.
3 weeks.
That's on a fucking Monday night. Oh,
Yeah, that's a Monday.
What, the return legs on the
I
Monday?
think they said in the week of 12. That means either 13.
Oh,
Yeah,
the week
week
of 12.
commencing.
Okay.
It'll be week commencing Monday the 12th. So
Monday
it will
night.
be
So
the
it could
Tuesday.
be Tuesday the
won't be a Monday
13th
night.
or
It won't be a Monday. It'll be the Tuesday or the Wednesday.
okay.
so then it would be on the beginning of Feb. That would be when the final is.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the final is the first week of March.
Sorry, the second leg. My fault. That's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. So
Because the week
second leg
after we
is
have
3
Paphos, I
weeks
know
off.
that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
A
That
lot-
does not
a
fill me
lot
with
to happen.
confidence, guys.
A lot to happen between now and then. We need to negotiate Charlton in the cup. We need to
We'll beat
negotiate.
Charlton. We'll be
We
fine.
need to negotiate some. Yeah, well, we said that about Cardiff, and we did. Two very difficult games coming up. Like Newcastle's always tough. Bit of a bogey for us in the Premier League away, isn't it? And then obviously Villa as well. Villa being one of the form teams in Europe at the minute, it has to be said.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing a terrific job, Aston Villa. Actually, Unai Emery, not a manager that I expressed great desire for Chelsea to get before we got Poch.
I don't think I'd ever want Emery, but I appreciate why you would want him. Why? Not sexy enough.
What? Because he looks like the Penguin. That is
No,
so.
like football, isn't it? I just don't think it's very sexy.
That is so discriminatory against the otherwise good looking.
Sexy in
It
a
does look
football
like a
term.
vampire. I'm not going to lie.
Listen, he's going to be.
If I had to look at Dracula in the touchline, I don't know how to feel every match.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Right. Shall we go for a few questions, guys? Bring in any questions you've got and we'll answer some questions as well. And then we'll wrap it up. I'm just trying to think as well, just going off of the drums. Is there any other teams in England that I'd say Premier League teams that use the drums?
I've not been noticing much, but I'm definitely paying attention more often now.
So Crystal Palace, Premier League teams. I mean, obviously like Portsmouth and other teams, Sheffield Wednesday, but Premier League teams, obviously Crystal Palace. No,
nothing, is it?
I'm going to say
Bournemouth.
Who?
Bournemouth.
Yeah,
We always sing the same chant. Who's the wanker with the drum? We sing that every time. My mate sits right next to the drum, and he said, "Alex, it is just brutal, boom, boom." But imagine the whole match right next to your head, boom, boom. I was like, "What if you go and you've got a massive headache? Like, I mean, that would be nasty.
Pretty bad.
It kind of feels like the guy with a headaches problem. I'm not going to lie. Imagine how Marshall feels. America invented the fucking drum of football.
Really, I feel like that was South America more so, right? The Brazilian teams and such.
It started and ended in a.
The reason I brought it up is because during Club World Cup, you see some of these Brazilian sides and the energy they brought to the atmosphere with the drums, and it felt like war. It felt like war. I remember I was there when we were going to play. What was the Tunisia, right? When we were playing Tunisia, we're just sitting outside. Me, Jimmy, and a few other Chelsea fans are sitting outside the stadium having a drink or two, and the marching band just with the giant flags just come walking down the street like they're ready for a war, and they were the minority crowd in that, and they just brought so much energy. They were louder than the Chelsea fans, who were the majority of the fans there. So I was just curious, because now we're talking about all these different ways to bring in more energy and more of an atmosphere to the bridge, and I always wondered why drums weren't like. I always knew there was the laws that prohibited it for a while, but it seems like the Premier League is opening up a little bit more to it.
I don't even necessarily. I mean, those rules might have been in place. I don't think it was that. It was more the fact that it just wasn't needed.
Yeah,
it just wasn't needed. The atmosphere. I do believe that the atmosphere in general has been diluted quite a lot over the years. It doesn't mean that anybody's any less passionate or wants any team to lose any less or any more. It's got nothing to do with that. I just think that the atmosphere has been diluted because of like several factors, too many to even like comprehend trying to get into now. I think the atmosphere has been diluted quite a lot, and I think that obviously with the influx of like, you know, Sky Sports introducing so many games every season, and Amazon and TNT and everything else offering so many games, that you're not appreciating the atmosphere when you're at home. So what they're trying to do is like create that atmosphere through the telly, and I think that like drums is like quite a big part of that perhaps, and not just the drums, but like, you know, the idea of having groups of fans, whether it be the ultras or the fanatics, like kind of thing. And I think it's a bit of a gimmick personally, but I think it's kind of like the way that the game's gone. But the game has changed an awful lot, you know, especially with fans and how they perceive things and what they consider to be success. And, you know, a lot of that is because we are so successful and we are as good as anybody else this millennium, and we are the pride of London, and we are the only team in London with a European Cup, let alone 2 of them. So if it means that we've got slightly less passionate fans every now and then, I'll accept it for being just the pride of
That's
London.
the thing, we get criticized a lot in terms of the support in some ways. Even yesterday we had some argument with the Cardiff fans, and they said that we're probably the worst away teams in terms of support.
I would say that, the fucking shit.
I think everyone said that nowadays, isn't it? Because
our away support good though.
It's not.
Felt fine to me.
No, sorry, it's not. No, sorry, it's not. It's average.
Average compared to who?
Average. I would say average. Now, I think it's unfair to bring some lower division.
An
teams
average
in
for how long?
I think it's average in the Premier League.
For what, 10 years? This
10
year?
years.
I would say that our away support in the last. I think that 10 years ago, our away support was in the top half of the top half, if that makes sense. I think that it's dwindled quite a lot recently, and I don't think that's anything to do. I don't think there's any problem to do with the fans. I think a lot of it's got to do with expense and the fact that everything is catered for like TV time rather than fans. I think
our away support's fantastic. I think it's brilliant. I mean, I was there when we lost. Was it 4-0? Was it 4-0 the day Vialli died and we lost against City? I mean, that was one of the best away atmospheres I've ever.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
we are 100% in the top 5 in the league for away atmosphere, and that's also looking at the fact that obviously when I'm at the Bridge, I'm watching everybody else.
No, that's fair. That's definitely fair. I suppose that for me, I think that Crystal Palace got a better away fans than me. Than us. Sorry, me. I think that Crystal Palace fans are better away fans than us, mainly because
I'll give you that.
You've also got to factor in the fact that our success means that we are more likely to go and support our team. So
you're right. You're correct.
There's different factors there. I think that Man United have had one of the best away followings in England for 50 years, that is something that I can contest to because I've been going for an awful long time. I think that although they obviously take more than everybody else, Leeds fans are better than us. This season, Newcastle are better. Sunderland are better. I'm sorry. I think that, like I said, I've mentioned Crystal Palace. I think that Liverpool fans make more noise away.
No, Liverpool overrated. Away fans.
100% overrated. My God, especially when it comes to Anfield. Let's not get on to the whole fact that they.
No, I'm talking about away fans. I mean, Anfield and
they might be overrated. I still think they make more noise than us at Stamford Bridge than we do at Anfield.
You know what?
I don't know about that.
I don't know, man.
Liverpool are really not all that, mate.
I've already put us 7th, though.
So I would put Leeds ahead of us. I would put Man United ahead of us. I would put
Sunderland, Crystal Palace, Newcastle.
I'll put Sunderland.
I would put Palace ahead of us. I wouldn't put Sunderland ahead of us. I wouldn't put Newcastle ahead of us.
West Ham.
No.
Aston Villa. Great away fans.
I'd give you Aston Villa. So I'd put us in 5th behind those.
I feel like you named 5 there. That would put us 6th, right?
So Leeds, Villa, Palace, and Man United.
But again, I suppose that's because I'm used to us being the best. So maybe I do us a disjustice.
I mean, I think it depends as well what memories you've got of going to games. When I mean, you were going at this time as well, Father. When Tuchel was at his peak, I have never seen a better away atmosphere than Leicester away. Do you remember that, Father?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God. It was like, even the Leicester fans, there was videos on social media like, these guys are fucking crazy. Just didn't stop. And
it was a terrific atmosphere that night. No, it was.
That's the best away days that we've had so far.
What about when the Chelsea fans went to the final, the Conference League? I think that was a pretty good atmosphere.
The first half, it was shite.
Okay.
The second half, when we scored, we were good.
So I was going to say, so like,
a lot better.
I think nowadays, like the fans care more about the results. Let's say if we don't play.
I was going to say, so you talk about like a European final. Obviously, like, you know, we've had Champions Leagues and Europa Leagues and stuff. I went to the Cup Winners' Cup final in Stockholm against Stuttgart in '98 when Zola, with the goal that the commentator would always make for me, because he said, with a stupendous strike. He had only just come on. See, now that atmosphere, and I'm not going to talk about away days, like some of the away days that we've had, because we used to get a lot more tickets back in the day. You know, like you know, like if you went to Main Road, for example. Now Main Road, now the Etihad, the empty had, right? That's just an absolute. That's a Jimmy Carr of a fucking football stadium. It's just a complete joke, right? But Main Road used to be a really boisterous atmosphere. And the good thing about Main Road was, if Man City were not playing very well, they would offer you 1,500 tickets. And if you sold them out and Man City weren't selling their home tickets, they would like extend the segregation like across the stand. So sometimes you'd end up with like 6,000 just for a random Premier League game. And like that was... like, especially considering, you know, we would have been mid-table, maybe 14th, and we had Paul Furlong and Mark Stein and Eddie Newton. We didn't have Moises Caicedo, Cole Palmer, and, you know, Reece James. To take 6,000 up there, then it was... I suppose the atmosphere was different. It wasn't any better. It wasn't any noisier necessarily. I suppose it was just different because they wasn't there because we was going to win. It didn't matter. And I guess that's...
I mean, there's still a section of Chelsea fans that are like that. Me and Father.
Thank you very
much. And that's important. But I do get frustrated. I won't... Do I say names? There's someone I know who is very big on the Chelsea scene, even on YouTube. And he was like...
Is it somebody that me and you have had a discussion about before?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's
I won't
different. He was like, when we lost to United, he was like, I'm never fucking coming back. I'm never coming back. And I went, come on, mate. For the love of the Chelsea. No, we're not winning next time. We're not winning. And I was like, see, that's where I don't look at it like that. You just go. You just go and you see what happens. And there's some games where you lose where you genuinely have a great time.
I'm not gonna lie, Alex. When we lost to Flamengo, as being, you know, a Chelsea fan from the States, I never felt the Chelsea defeat. When we lost to Flamengo and I had to walk out of shame, I understand why Chelsea fans were booing Sanchez last season. I get it now. I get it. It was so demoralizing.
Well, I presume as well, because those kickoff times are really rough. I'm guessing you took time off work.
Oh yeah, I had to take time off work for that one.
Even worse then, right? I mean,
yeah,
you had to take a day off work for that. I mean, we get to work and then go and watch it, so we're quite lucky in that sense. But yeah, man, it can be demoralizing. I mean, personally, I don't think I've ever booed players, and I don't believe in.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
If there was one game I would have booed the players, it would have been Middlesbrough under Poch. I thought that was a disgrace. But generally speaking, I try and stay away from that. But I will say this: I'm not a fan who claps the players. I just leave.
The thing is,
I clapped after Cardiff. I did clap after Cardiff, but generally I just leave. But I'm not a fan of booing players. I don't believe.
I don't think it really helps a lot in the players, isn't it? Like,
no, it doesn't.
Even after defeat as well, all you can do is just like give him a bit, like cheer up a bit, yeah, and then we go again. And sometimes it depends on how we lost the game in some ways. That's why I feel like some.
That's why Middlesbrough is a great example because that game was absolutely, oh my gosh.
That was
Alex,
the worst
what
game.
You said there, what you said there about crapping players at the end of the game. Obviously, there's been a lot of fantastic performances that I've been very fortunate enough to go to. European games down the years, and obviously being in the ground when we've won trophies and stuff. So I've stayed behind a lot for that. Yeah. The one time I remember staying behind when we lost was Frank Lampard's first game in charge. 4-0 away to United, obviously.
That was
my first ever season following Chelsea home and away. And
I tell you what, when Tammy hit the post, I thought he was going to win. Sorry, what did you say there, Alex? At the end,
do you know the rapper Santan?
Yeah, I know. I met him outside the ground with my mate Kieran. He was getting into a taxi.
Oh, after United?
He was getting into a taxi, outside the ground.
Yeah, well.
No way. He wasn't like literally getting into the taxi, was he? He was wearing like a tracksuit and he had I
met him on the train, mate. He was on the fucking GWR or whatever.
Oh, he got the train on the way up there.
Yeah, he was on the bloody train. I was sat with him for like 3 hours. He was texting Marcus Rashford. He didn't want to talk to me, but I was chatting with his brother and all the rest of it.
You was on the train for 3 hours to Manchester. Where did you go via?
From Manchester to London.
Oh,
about 3 hours.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah. So.
Oh no, fair enough. How crazy is that? Yeah, but no, yeah, but crazy. After that game, like pretty much, I would say 90% of the fans stayed behind and cheered Lampard's name and gave all the players a good, rendition of their song, whoever it was, whether it was Giroud or Emerson or Tammy or whoever.
Yeah.
It was, it was all the academy players. It was Mount and Tomori and Loftus-Cheek and James and Abraham, and that was my favourite time as a Chelsea fan in modern history. Take away like the success, and obviously I want success more than anything, but like watching all them academy players come through. And, you can't watch a Premier League game or a Champions League game or a Europa League game without seeing a Chelsea Academy player somewhere. And I just wish that we would have kind of gone with the flow. I would have loved it if we would have got a 5-year transfer embargo, because I still think we'd be in the same place we are now, to be honest with you, with our players got rid of. I really do.
I love Tomori. I was always very upset when Tomori left.
Hey, Abraham. Not Gurhey?
Yeah.
Right. Gurr. Well, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Gurhey and Tomori at the back. That's solid.
Tammy Abraham now instead of Delap and instead of Jackson for the last 2 years.
Nah, I'd take Jackson and Delap.
Yeah, I'd take Jackson. Delap, really? I don't know. Maybe I'll take Tammy.
Tammy ran a lot, but he was a bit of
But he was inexperienced. He's got the club. He's got the club at heart. I suppose that's the bit that I fall in love with. I fall in love with the fact that he's like Chelsea through and through.
Yeah,
I suppose that blinds my judgment a lot. It probably does.
Hey, listen, we all love Chelsea, and I appreciate everyone that's come on the show. I appreciate everyone that's been watching the show as well. If you have been watching for the whole show, big up to you. Smash that like button as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. It does make a big difference. I promise you. We wouldn't ask if it didn't. If you're watching on X as well, you can retweet, you can like on there. It all helps. It all makes the algorithm and all that stuff. Father, listen, mate. As always, it's been a pleasure. I presume you got work in the morning.
I'm actually working from home tomorrow, so
easy.
Last week of work, and then after that, it's holiday, man.
Hey, man, you're working as well, Warren?
Yeah, I am. My alarm is set for exactly 4 hours and 16 minutes from now.
Damn.
The joys of being a stone cutter. Hey.
Oh my God! But you finish early, right?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be finished at about 6 o'clock.
What? That's not early.
I have a choice.
Did you say 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.?
Okay, so I will be waking up at 4:15 so that I can be at work for 6 a.m. so that I can leave work by 6 p.m. because I have a choice. I can either do 12 hours tomorrow and then be off until January the 9th, or I can go and do a bit tomorrow and a bit the day after. So I'm just going to go and get it all done tomorrow.
Okay, so it's out of choice. Oh, I respect that.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's out of wanting to be lazy for as long as possible. So I'm going to go and do as hard. I'm going to go and work as hard as possible to allow myself to do it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And listen, my friend Marshall, it's been a pleasure having you on. It's your first time on the channel, at least with me. And I hope you've enjoyed yourself. It's been great having you. Where can people find you as well?
Well, first things first, like Alex said, be sure to smash up the like button, hype up the video, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Great channel here. You'll probably see me on this channel interviewing with Alex in January after the Paphos game. Who knows? But you could find me Casually FC on YouTube, Twitter, doing live streams at least twice a week. We got a live stream tomorrow. Going to be going over a few of the headlines that have been coming out in the last week. So yeah, you'll find me there. Match reactions as well, the day of the match. So yeah, you can find me there. Thank you, Alex, for having me on. Thank you for everyone the panel, Warren, Fater, for also being so kind and enjoying this conversation with you guys, and the chat. Big up to you guys as well. So thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Hey man, it's been awesome. It's been a pleasure, and first time of many, I hope. Be good to have you on the channel again, my friend. Do you know what? This is the beauty of doing the virtual stuff, is that it doesn't matter where you are, you can still sort of have a chat. And I think it's great because, I mean, Warren's in Newcastle. Father, you're not actually that far away, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not far away from you anyway, but yeah.
You're in America, mate. Where in America are you?
Me? New Jersey.
A long way.
Close to about 40 minutes from New York City.
I was going to say I have a really funny story about an American Chelsea fan based club. Funny enough, it was it was 2019. It was Liverpool away, and we lost 2-0. I think they thought they was going to win the league, and they didn't. And Salah and Mane scored. Salah scored a worldie. So I was on Facebook at the time, and an American guy who was coming over to the game. He was a member of like the Philadelphia Blues or whatever it's called.
Oh, I'm familiar with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, what at the Liverpool game?
No, I'm familiar with the Philadelphia Blues.
Oh, you're familiar. Sorry, I thought you said you
were
there with them. Right. So
no.
So I was like liaising with them on Facebook. They was like, where's everyone going to be drinking? And I was like, well, there's this pub in Liverpool, and like half of it's Liverpool fans, half of it's Chelsea fans, kind of thing. So I'll be drinking in there. So they knew me. So I've got to Liverpool, met up with my friend, got a taxi to this pub, and sort of said, like, we need to be sensible about what entrance we go into. And we picked the wrong one, have walked into like the middle of like 250 Liverpool fans. I decided with my friend that it would be like hilarious if we just went to the bar and ordered a pint, like as if it was just like a normal everyday Sunday occurrence. And what I said to him was, don't draw any attention to yourself. Whatever you do, just try and be subtle. At which point, one of the members of the Philadelphia Blues has decided to scream my name out at the top of his voice from the Chelsea segregated end, so that every single Liverpool fan that I was in the middle of knew that I was Chelsea. And I was like, yeah, cheers, mate. And we got escorted through by the escorts. But that was the day that I thought that an American was going to be the death of me.
That sounds about right.
Sorry, Alex. I was interrupting the exit to your show there.
Hey,
Sorry.
man. No, it's good. It's good. It's been a nice chat today, boys. I've enjoyed it. And listen, we'll be back again. We'll be doing show after Newcastle as well. That's going to be a long trip. Don't know how I'm getting there, but we'll figure it out. And listen, big up to everyone. All the best, and we will catch you up very, very soon.